I will not stand here and wait to die.
None of us got a whole lot of joy.
Oh, Drax.
Watching Meathead. Nice knowing ya.
Hey everybody, Tim Anderson here, aka Renphil. Welcome back for another video, and today we're talking about an amazing game that I just played. If you watched, I live streamed it over the past week. It's easily the best narrative game I've played since probably God of War or maybe Red Dead Redemption 2, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy. This game was a 10 out of 10, 100% worth it in my regards. We'll be talking about that today, so get ready. If you're new here, it's time for the prerequisite. Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so that you can continue to get updates from me as I continue to play games, talk about movies, shows, books, all sorts of other stuff. There's a bunch of playlists here on YouTube. It is a variety channel. Check all the things out. Don't forget we have a Discord and a gaming community if you want to join with us. And I do stream most mornings Central Time, so tune in for that. And of course, don't forget the Patreon page where my wife, my brother, and I are building the world of the Weave and the Void, which is that world map behind me. It's a point-and-click game, a 5th edition tabletop setting, and a series of books like Dragonlance being published all through our Patreon page, patreon.com/Wandering Hermits. Let's dive in. So, we've got this game, which I just played Marvel's Avengers a few months ago, and I kind of walked away from the Avengers game going, yeah, it's got great visuals, and the storyline was pretty good, voice acting was really good, but the gameplay and some of the mechanics were kind of meh. And I felt like the forced online component where you're meant to be playing that game, with other people and multiplayer, co-op, so on and so forth, really kind of took away from the game. Guardians of the Galaxy is not that way. This is a single player game designed to be a single player game, and no, as far as I'm aware, no microtransactions or anything like that. It's just a game that you're meant to sit down, sink your teeth into, and play. And oh my goodness, is this game awesome. So first and foremost, if you like the Guardians of the Galaxies, whether you like the comics or if you like the Marvel films, all of that camaraderie and sort of sarcasm and jokes and everything else, that's all here on high display. The writing in this game and the voice acting and those two combined, hands down, the best thing I've played in like the last year. This just it's amazing how good the writing and narration is. And this ties into the storyline as well because there's a lot of elements going on here from a storytelling perspective, and they weave all of them in together perfectly. You've got several story arcs that are happening within this overarching, hey, we have to save the galaxy from this threat. I'm not going to spoil what that threat is because you should totally play this game. It's about 20 hours long, more or less, kind of depending on how you play the game and if you're trying to do a completionist version of the levels and find every last little component to upgrade your abilities. Um, so 20 hours of highbrow entertainment. It's so good. But I think one of the things they did the best was just the camaraderie between the characters, and it's not just when you're actively doing missions. Anytime you're just hanging out, whether it's on the ship or if you're just on a planet and you're just hanging out, the characters continue to have dialogue and they continue to banter amongst themselves, whether or not you're involved in that conversation or not, which makes it feel very much like a living, breathing world. And I don't know that I came across too many examples where they stopped talking, to be honest with you. There's multiple times where I would get up and go away and have a bio and get some coffee and stuff. A couple of times I went AFK for 10 minutes or so to eat lunch, and I would come back and their characters were still having conversations and joking around with each other. And for the most part, I don't really think I came across more than a couple of instances where there was repeated dialogue. It's pretty much all fresh dialogue as you go through. The only time I saw any repetition was really in the combat scenes, because during combat fight sequences, there is back and forth banter that's going on while you're fighting, and every once in a while, if you're in a longer fight, they'll start to repeat themselves a little bit, but only on the longer fights. Everything here is painstakingly and meticulously designed to give you a seamless experience from start to finish, where it's all about getting chuckles while also kind of sitting back and shaking your head at some of the antics that are going on between the team members. Um, each character sort of gets its own arc. You've got Rocket's sort of arc. You've got Drax's arc, you've got Gamara's arc. They're all very well done in the sense that each one of your sidekicks has a specific story or thing that is happening to them while they're on this adventure with you, which makes them react in different ways at different points in time. And some of the conversations that you have with them and some of the actions you decide to take throughout the game have consequences later on in the game depending on how you treat certain characters, not just within your party, but also individuals that you come across in the game world. Towards the end of the game in particular, they end up helping or not helping depending on how you treated them throughout the game. So a lot of good stuff going on here with storyline. Now, as far as gameplay goes, this is the one weak point of the game, but I think it's a weak point that every game suffers from, which is at some point the combat is gonna get a little repetitive. It's gonna happen. I complain about combat getting repetitive in just about every single game I ever play because it just is. After you play the game for 15, 20 hours, you're kind of repeating the same stuff over and over and over again. Now, in the case of a game like, say, Bard's Tale 4, I really got bored of the combat very quickly. Here, not so much. It's still a little, does get a little boring towards the end game because the combat scenarios are pretty much the same throughout. But there is also storyline going on for most of the combat sequences, which does kind of take away from that and help you not get distracted by that too much. But it is, of course, something that's going on there. There were three that I came across. There might be more. There were three instances in this game where I thought the game was over because I started to get an end credit sequence, and then turns out it wasn't the end of the game. But they totally troll you with end credits. In multiple scenarios. So I would say look out for that if you've never played this game before. There are going to be moments when you start going, wait a second, is that really the end? And then no, it's not the end. And then when I got to what I thought was the end, it still wasn't the end. And I was like, oh my God, there's more. So there's always something coming along. And yeah, great game. I'm a little confused because what was it? Square Enix, I believe, was who published this, came out and said that they didn't. The sales were not what they expected. It underperformed. I don't know why it underperformed because oh my, this is easily like this is the best game I've played in the last 12 months easily. I think the only thing that comes close to this is God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2, and I think those were back in like 2018. So this has been, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was pretty good. That was, I think, maybe last year or the year before. Um, no, that was the year before, so it's been a year and a half since Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is just, it was when it came out. I didn't have time to play it because I was busy doing other stuff. And now that I'm got moved and everything else, it was part of Games Pass this month, and so I picked it up and really glad I did. 10 out of 10 from me. Absolutely worth it. You should definitely try it. I would happily pay full price for this game. Happily. It is worth every penny. You're going to get every ounce of enjoyment out of this game possible. Great game. Play it. If you have already done so, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments below. Don't forget, if you want to check out some of the footage, I did live stream it over the past week, so you can check out some of those. If you go back and watch the live stream sections here on YouTube, you'll see some of the gameplay. Again, only about 20 hours, so, I didn't play it for, I think it was only like a week of game sessions, about 3-4 hours each day, and I made my way through it. Love it. Let me know your thoughts below. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. All those things are great things to do if you want to get more content like this. And don't forget, we do have a gaming community and a Discord with the links down below. I do stream most mornings here on YouTube Central Time, so check that out. Our gaming community plays Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday evenings Central Time, as well as Saturday and Sunday mornings. We're weekend warriors. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can join as a member, or if you want to get a ton of cool perks, That world map behind me is the world of the Weave and the Void, and I'm creating that with my brother and my wife, along with Nathan Napalm working with us as a contractor. We are the Wandering Hermits, and our Patreon is patreon.com/Wandering Hermits. It is a 5th edition tabletop setting. The books are coming out in June. There's also an associated point and click game, like the old King's Quest games, if you like those kind of games. There's a free demo available out now. That game's going to be out later this year. And of course, the book chapters, which are written like Dragonlance with chapter art from Chris. Those come out twice a month. Everything's done through Patreon, so definitely check that out. So hopefully we'll see you in Discord over on Patreon, and definitely for the next video as I continue to do reviews on various different things, including letting you know if these games are worth it or not. Stay safe, everybody. Have fun out there.